Hey everyone, it's Maria, and for today's video I'll be talking about 5 tips for drawing from reference. And tip number 1 that I have is to measure your paper the same size as your reference if possible. So what I mean by this is that, say your reference picture is like square shaped, I would say measure your paper that you're drawing on as a square. Or if it's like rectangular, same, I would measure my paper in a rectangular size, just so it you can actually look at the reference and then your paper, and it's like the same size, so you can know like where certain parts of the drawing go. But yeah, tip number 2 that I have is, if you can, print out your reference picture. And yeah, I like to have like a physical copy of like the reference picture if I can, next to me while I'm drawing, just so that you can look at it like really side by side, and I don't know, you can like pick it up and like draw over it if you want to. That really helps, but you don't have to. Like, I use my phone or like my laptop sometimes too. It's totally optional. Tip number 3 is that you don't have to copy exactly how your reference looks. And what I mean by this is that, yeah, like art is like your own. You don't have to copy it exactly. You can if you want to, but usually like when I use references, I just use it for like the form of like how a body is positioned, just because it helps me a lot, and then I just change like the person who's posed into like whatever I want. But yeah. And tip number 4 is to work on one piece at a time. So what I mean by this is that, say you're working on a rose, it's my cat. Say if you're working on a flower or like a rose, try to work on like one petal at a time. That way you could like look at a petal and then compare it to your reference, and then see if you're like matching it up. Or if you're working on an animal, work on the head first and then go back to your reference and match it up, and then work on the ear next, and then the other ear, and like so on. And then my last tip that I have is to, when you're drawing in pencil, to draw very lightly, because when you erase, you won't see pencil lines, but if you draw really like heavy with a heavy hand and really dark, when you go back to erase it, you can see that, and you don't really want that, because yeah, it won't look that great. But yeah, just try to draw really lightly, and also practice makes perfect. So yeah, like I know like if in the beginning like it might not come out like initially how you want it, or things might not look a certain way, but I know it can be frustrating, but just practice makes perfect. Nobody's born like, well, nobody's born like, yeah, like I can draw like faces and stuff like that. Like, you just have to keep practicing and you'll get it. But yeah, these have been my 5 tips for drawing from reference, and I hope you guys enjoyed. Don't forget to like and subscribe, and check out www.sparkit.com for full online art courses where you guys can learn from home. Bye guys! Super hard, because when you draw super hard, sometimes when you erase it, you like can't. Oh my god, so sorry guys. He's oh my god, cut. Number 5 that I have, draw very lightly if you can, and don't press too hard with the pencil, because when you go back to erase it, you can see those lines, and you don't want that. So just try to draw very lightly so you can erase your mistakes, and you don't have like and oh my goodness. And www.sparkit.com for full online art courses where you can learn from home.